What type of piano should I get, Ayana? This is another question that I get when people enroll in my courses. So I'm going to take this video to talk about my top recommended courses based on certain things you need to know about keyboards and pianos before you invest. And if you watch until the end of the video, I'm going to give you my top recommended brand of piano that I've used for over 20 years, and they are sturdy and they're very, very good for your money. So just watch until the end and I will give you my top recommended keyboard brand that I think you should look into. So here's the thing. There are a few things you need to know about how keyboards work and about how pianos work before you decide to buy one, because you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on a keyboard or a piano and you find out that it wasn't the right type of piano or keyboard that fit best for your needs, right? Let me move this out the way. Now, a couple of things you need to know. There's different categories of pianos, digital pianos, keyboards, things of that nature. So you have what is called the acoustic piano, which is the most expensive one in general out of all of them. So that's the real piano that has the real strings inside. It's not plugged up to a wall. You can have an upright piano, which is the piano that is basically where the strings are vertical. And most of those pianos you see up against the wall of, a house, apartment, that sort of thing. If you get an acoustic piano, the upright pianos tend to be on the cheaper side in comparison to what is called the grand pianos. They're grand pianos. They are like the baby grands or the grand pianos. Those are where the strings are horizontal. Those are like, the pianos where you see the big lid that you can put up and down. You see them in concert halls, things like that. Those tend to be the most expensive. And usually whether you're dealing with an upright or a grand piano, you have to really hire like a piano mover, a very specific type of mover, because they know how to dismantle the pianos. They know how to, to build it, install it in your house. So if you have the budget and you are super serious about learning piano and you have the space in your house to get an upright or a grand piano, you're going to be doing this for the long run. And again, if it's within your budget, they usually run anywhere. I mean, the prices range, right? They range between it could be like $2,000, $3,000 for a used piano, but some of them can go up into like the hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what kind of piano that you get, right? So if you got that kind of budget, and if you want that type of piano, if you want something that's real and authentic, and you have the money for it, then you can shoot for either one of those. Again, the brand I'm going to be sharing with you has both the upright and the grand pianos available. So stick to the end of the video. I'll tell you what brand you should get. So the other thing, before I get into I'm jumping around here. So that you have the real pianos, right, that I just broke down. Then you have what's called the digital pianos. And the digital pianos are the ones that you do hook up to the wall. Some of them look like the upright pianos. Nowadays, they have hybrid pianos where you can do like the upright and the grand pianos. You hook them up to the wall and they have the strings, but they're digital. So you can control the volume. You can create all kinds of other types of music, but I'm keeping it simple for the beginners because I know that you guys probably wouldn't even care about all those specifics. So digital pianos, basically they act like the real pianos, but again, you hook them up to the wall so you can turn them on and off. You don't have to tune them the same way you do a real piano. And the other thing is most digital pianos are a lot cheaper than the real piano. So if you want the real piano feel, but if you don't have the budget for it, then the digital pianos tend to be the best route. There's another reason why digital pianos work well, but I'll circle back to that in a second. Then you have like the keyboards where you have, and they break down into different categories like synthesizers and stuff like that. The keyboards are like the really small ones that you see. Well, they come in different sizes, but basically, I mean, technically all pianos are keyboards. They're all keyboards, but most keyboards, they come in different sizes, right? So that's the first thing I want to talk about is size. So really, you can choose different sizes of the pianos based on, again, your budget, but also how much space you have in your house or your apartment. If you have a small apartment, then you can go with, let's say, a 61 key keyboard, or you can go for a 76 key keyboard. So if you're worried about not fitting a whole piano into a smaller apartment, you can always start with something like super small. You can put it on a desk, you can put it on a coffee table, or you can put it on a stand. If you just stand with it, you can put it on a stand and you can have its own little place. Those are pretty easy to fit pretty much anywhere. So size is the first thing. You want to determine how big of a space you have, and then the budget comes into play as well. Before I continue into budget, I do want to let you know that I have a free 3-step or piano in 3 steps video that I would like for you to check out. The link is in the description box to sign up for that. If you're a complete beginner and you need the basic tools to get going with piano, that 3-step video is going to be perfect for you. So the link is in the description box. Check that out. Now, as far as budget, obviously, if you're going with a smaller keyboard, generally the smaller keyboards go for, if you're going for a 61 key or 76 key, they usually run the cheapest out of all the different categories of pianos. So if your budget is, let's say, anywhere between $100 to $300, right? That's about the cheapest you can get a keyboard, unless you get a used keyboard from maybe a pawn shop or Guitar Center. I think they offer used keyboards for cheaper than that. But if your budget's between $100 to $200, you're probably going to be getting like a 61 key or a 76 key. And you can always upgrade later on. So if you're just starting out with a budget for now, just kind of just feel out, the piano, see if you like it. That would be a great place to start. And you can always upgrade to a digital piano a little bit later. Now, if your budget is within maybe $500 to $1,000, a digital piano might work better, because a digital piano usually has all 88 keys, which is the same amount of keys that an actual acoustic piano has, which is another reason why digital pianos are very similar to the real pianos, because they have the same number of keys in most cases. So digital pianos, depending on which one you get, they usually run between like $500 to $700 within that range. So if you do have that budget and you want to go with something that's a bit sturdier, then the digital piano works for you. I've already talked about the acoustic pianos. If you have a budget in the thousands, and if you're like, I want to dive into this, then you might want to go with an upright piano if you have a smaller space. But if you have a nice big space where you can fit a grand piano, feel free to go that route. The other thing that you need to know about pianos is the weight of the keys themselves. So a lot of people are not aware that on an acoustic piano, you have what is called weighted keys. If you ever hit a real piano, if you notice the keys are a little bit harder to press than maybe like a smaller keyboard where it feels more plastic and flimsy and it feels like there's like a little spring in there, which it probably is. So the keys on a real piano are weighted keys. And the reason why it's important to know is because you don't want to have to go through the culture shock of going from a lighter, flimsier key to practicing on a real piano. The keys are completely different, and you're like, whoa, I'm not used to practicing on these weighted keys. The other thing is, if you practice with weighted keys, it helps you build finger strength, and it helps you with getting accustomed to playing on a real piano. So in most cases, 61 key keyboards, 76 key keyboards, and some 88 key keyboards do not have the weighted keys. They have the lighter keys where it feels a little bit flimsier. So again, if you don't have it in your budget to get like a weighted key keyboard, you can always start with the lighter keys, and that's fine. But again, if you want to be really serious about it, eventually you want to upgrade to something that has weighted keys. One of the things that does have weighted keys is the digital piano. That is the number one thing that makes the digital piano close to, outside of the sound itself, that makes it close to an acoustic piano, is that digital pianos not only do have the same number of keys as a real piano, but most digital pianos have the weighted keys to them. So if you don't have it in your budget to get a real piano, but you want to have something that's sturdy and you want to practice on something that has the weighted keys, you want to get as close to the real experience as possible, and you have it in your budget, maybe like $500, $600, $700 to spend on a piano like that, again, the digital piano would be the best way to go. With that said, and there's a bunch of really good brands, like there's Roland has a really good brand, Korg has really good brands, but my number one favorite, and this is not endorsed by, this video has not been sponsored by this brand, this is just me personal, right? Personal experience. My number one favorite brand is Yamaha. So Yamaha happens to have all the categories of pianos that I talked about, from the 61 to the grand pianos, from the light keys to the weighted keys. So if you want to go with Yamaha, if you need something that's on the smaller side, they have a PSR series where they have 61 keys, 76 keys. You can go with pretty much any of them. and you'll be good to go. If you need a digital piano, then the piano that I actually use is what's called the P115, but they don't make those anymore. But if you go for like the P45, any like P series digital piano, you can go for, just pick any of them that's within your budget and you'll be good to go. And of course they have the acoustic pianos and, you know, the uprights and the grand pianos that you can look into. Again, any of them. The thing about Yamaha is they make their keyboards last a very long time. I remember the first keyboard that I got, it was a PSR. I was about 10 years old when I got it. Well, my parents got it for me. I didn't have money. I was 10 years old. But I had that thing for maybe, it was a 76 key keyboard, and I had it for about 10 years. And even when I switched from that keyboard to the Yamaha Motif, the PSR that I had for 10 years was still in mint condition. There were no broken keys. The sound was just as good quality as it was when I first bought it. It lasted me a very, very, very long time. Even the Motif that I have now, that I bought that back in like 2009. I still have it. It's 2024 now, and it still works perfectly. So that's well over like what, 15 years if I'm doing the math right. I don't know what year it is anymore. You know, you get to that age where you're just like, I don't know what's going on with time. So here's the thing, right? So you want to get the Yamaha keyboard. If you want to go with my recommendation, you definitely want to do that. So if you want to get some more information on things you need to know before you get to learn piano, there should be a playlist either on the left or the right of me that should pop up. And you'll see some other resources and videos where you can learn more about what you need to know before you start getting into piano. So thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, oh yeah, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video.